And a very warm welcome here to the Barony Hall at the University of Strathclyde, one of the jewels in the crown of the university estate, used for many things in terms of events, conferences, major dinners, but most importantly, used for the celebration of the great achievements of our graduates. And of course, we have the graduands before me and behind me, who are going to be going through the process of graduation over the course of the next 45 minutes or so. Wonderful cause for celebration. And a very warm welcome to all the families and friends. We have a truly international community with us today. Please relax and enjoy the event. I will be giving you an update on the activities of the university towards the end of the ceremony after we do all of the capping exercise. But we're delighted that under these occasions we have the opportunity from time to time to celebrate the wonderful achievements of others who represent the values of this university, being bold, ambitious, innovative, collaborative, and people-centric. And this morning, I'm delighted to say, someone that you'll hear a little bit more of, we have Arunima Sinha, who is with me on the left, who will stay where she is for the moment. And she will be introduced to you by Professor Patricia Conley of our Biomedical Engineering Department. I'm not going to steal any of the thunder from our presenter, but we are delighted that Arunima is with us this morning, an outstanding woman of achievement, and we'll hear a little bit more of that in a moment. Anyway, please enjoy the ceremony, and I now declare the congregation formally opened, and I invite Professor Conley to the podium. Thank you very much.
Good morning. Principal and Vice-Chancellor, I have the honour to present to you Ms. Arunima Sinha, the world's first female amputee to climb Mount Everest. Ms. Sinha was already a recognised sportswoman as a national-level volleyball player when she was pushed from a moving train by thieves in 2011 while she was resisting them. Ms. Sinha had boarded the Padmavati Express train at Lucknow for Delhi in India on 12th of April 2011, and she was to take an examination to join the Central Industrial Security Force. She was pushed out of a coach of the train by the thieves who were trying to snatch her gold chain. As a result, her left leg had to be amputated below the knee, and she suffered multiple fractures in her right leg, fractures in her elbow, and 3 fractures in her spine. This event had changed this young girl's life forever. However, she showed her strength of character in how she fought back and created an admirable and inspiring life and career path following the incident. Even while she was still being treated for her injuries in the All India Institute of Medical Sciences, she resolved to climb Mount Everest. She took her inspiration from the international cricketer Yuvraj Singh, who had successfully recovered from cancer a few years before. Encouraged by Pachendri Pal, the first Indian woman to climb Mount Everest in 1984, she signed up to train with her at the Uttarkashi camp of the Tata Steel Adventure Foundation. She trained there and climbed other mountains as part of her training, and then partnered with Nima Kansha of the Guides of Nepal. Nima Kansha stayed with her on her climb when all others had left, thinking she would never return from Mount Everest. They reached the summit on the 21st of May 2013. She did not stop with this amazing achievement, but went on to climb Mount Kilimanjaro in South Africa, Mount Elbrus in Russia, Mount Kosciuszko in Australia, Mount Aconcagua in South America, and the Kartens Pyramid in Indonesia. Gosh, that's an effort even getting through the list. So she has now succeeded in climbing the world's 6th highest peaks in 5 different continents of the world. And if all that were not enough, she has set her sights on also scaling the 7th summit, Mount Vinson Massif in Antarctica, followed by Mount McKinley in North America. So still a very busy lady. As you may imagine, people all around the world admire the courage and determination that Ms. Sinha has shown, and she is an inspiration to people of all abilities. She has received many awards, including the Padma Shri, the 4th highest civilian award of India. Her commitment to using her expertise and reputation to helping to develop others is evidenced by the fact that she is now dedicated towards social welfare and wants to open a free sports academy in her home region of Uttar Pradesh for the poor and for differently abled people. She will use her knowledge and experience to inspire and train people who are differently able to compete in sports. She's donating all of the financial aid she's getting through awards and seminars to this cause. And the Academy will be named the Shahid Chandra Shekhar Vikalankhel Academy. Ms. Sinha is a woman of multiple talents, and she has already completed her first autobiography, Born Again on the Mountain, which was launched by the Honourable Prime Minister of India, Sri Narendra Modi, in December 2014. I think this is a story which you can expect to inspire you. So for those of you gearing up for the challenges ahead of you after graduation, or are looking for courage to overcome the challenges you already face, this book could be a great inspiration. And I'm aware this morning that many of you will have met challenges to get to this day and actually receive your degree. So for you to take a moment to be inspired by all that you've done and to thank your own guides, temporal or spiritual, and really enjoy this day and the strength that it gives you going forward. Ms. Sinha's story will soon reach an even wider audience as a movie about her life is about to be released. So I hope, in the brief time available for this introduction, I have shown you that Ms. Sinha is someone we can be proud of as a Strathclyde alumnus, inspiring so many people with her strength and courage. It is with great pleasure, therefore, Principal and Vice-Chancellor, that with the authority of Senate, I ask you to confer upon Arunima Sinha the degree of Doctor of the University, honoris causa.
I create you Doctor of the University, honoris causa. Many congratulations, and we're very privileged to have you as a part of the Strathclyde family. Well done.
First of all, namaste. आप सबको नमस्ते मेरा.
Good morning, greetings to everyone here.
Thank you. आप सबका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद कि आज मुझे इस यूनिवर्सिटी ने एक मानद पद की उपाधि दी है. मैं आप सबकी आभारी हूँ.
I'm grateful to everyone for giving me such an honor to be here at this university.
आप हमारे प्रिंसिपल सर, हमारे प्रोफेसर, स्टूडेंट्स, हमारे दोस्त, आप सबका, क्योंकि आपके बीच में आज इस महान घड़ी के आप सब गवाह हैं.
I'm grateful to the principal, to the office, teachers, and all the students and all the guests, and we are really lucky to be part of this opportunity in this procession.
मुझे लगता है कि ये अवार्ड मेरे कैरियर के लिए और बहुत सारे युवा जितने भी पूरे देश से, मेरे देश से, भारत से और वर्ल्ड से जितने भी युवा होंगे, वो अपने अपने क्षेत्र में कुछ अच्छा कार्य करेंगे जिससे उनको भी ये अवार्ड्स मिल पाए.
I'm sure this award will be very inspirational for all the youngsters, the students. They can look forward to achieve something great and get something similar.
मैं इंडिया के किसी IIT, IIM में मैं पढ़ी नहीं हूँ, लेकिन ये मेरा सौभाग्य है कि इंडिया के सारे IIT, सारे IIM मुझे लगातार बुलाते रहते हैं.
I haven't educated myself in IIT or any top grade universities there, but I'm really honored to be invited by the top universities.
आज मुझे आप सबके बीच में भी सेम वही जो खुशी वहाँ पर हुई थी, वही खुशी आपके बीच में आकर हो रही है. मैं कोई स्पीकर नहीं हूँ.
I'm not a professional speaker, but I'm having the same really greatness or happiness feeling that I shared there, and the same feelings I'm having here.
मैं एक माउंटेनियर हूँ और एक प्लेयर हूँ.
I'm a mountaineer and a player.
और मैं सिर्फ अपनी ज़िंदगी की कुछ पल आपके साथ शेयर करूँगी. अगर मुझे लगता है कि अगर किसी की ज़िंदगी के कोई पल किसी दूसरे के साथ शेयर करते हैं तो उसकी ज़िंदगी बदलती है, तो वो पल जरूर शेयर करना चाहिए.
I would like to share some moments of my life which I may think that might help to change someone's life as well.
अब मैं आपको बताऊं कि जैसा कि अभी इंट्रोडक्शन में बताया उन्होंने कि 2011 में मुझे चलती ट्रेन से कुछ बदमाशों ने उठाकर बाहर फेंक दिया था सिर्फ एक सोने की चैन के लिए.
As you've been told about in my introduction, that some scoundrels threw me off the train just because of the gold chain they wanted to grab off me.
जब मुझे ट्रेन से बाहर फेंका तो दूसरी ट्रैक से ट्रेन आ रही थी, पिंग पोंग होके मैं टकराई, फिर नीचे गिरी, दोनों ट्रेनें निकल गईं.
When I was thrown off the train, there was other train coming from the other side, and I just jumped like a ping pong ball, but I just fell on the track after that.
उस पेन को शायद मैं एक्सप्लेन नहीं कर सकती, लेकिन जब मैंने उठने की कोशिश की, मैं उठ के खड़ी नहीं हो पा रही थी.
I may not be able to explain the degree of pain that I experienced, but when I tried to get up, but I couldn't.
मैंने उस पेन को बर्दाश्त करने के लिए ट्रैक पे जो छोटे छोटे पत्थर होते हैं ऐसे हाथों से पकड़ के मैं पेट के बल लेट गई हूँ और उस दर्द को मैं उस पत्थर पे निकालने की कोशिश कर रही थी.
To bear the pain that I was going through, I held on to the pebbles on the track and lied on my stomach and really grabbed those pebbles to bear the pain.
जब मुझे लगा कि मैं क्यों नहीं उठ पा रही हूँ, मैंने अपने थाइस को जब उठा करके देखा है, अपने पैर को ऐसे उठा करके देखा है, तो मेरा पैर कट के जीन्स में हैंग हो रहा था.
And I tried to see why am I not being able to move my legs, and I tried to move my leg up, but my leg was hanging there. It wasn't straight.
So लगातार मैं उसी ट्रैक पे पड़ी रही. सुबह गांव वालों ने मुझे देखा, उठा करके डिस्ट्रिक्ट हॉस्पिटल बरेली ले जाके उत्तर प्रदेश के हॉस्पिटल में एडमिट किया.
I lied there whole time there. In the morning, the people from the village, they took me and they saw me and then took me to the hospital.
सुबह जब लोगों को जब पता चला कि अरुणिमा नेशनल प्लेयर है, तो मुझे ट्रीटमेंट अच्छा मिलना शुरू हुआ. वहाँ से किंग जॉर्ज मेडिकल कॉलेज लखनऊ.
In the morning when they found out that she's a player, and they gave me a better treatment and took me to the other hospital.
एम्स ट्रॉमा सेंटर न्यू दिल्ली.
AIMS Trauma Center in
ऑल इंडिया
Delhi.
इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ मेडिकल साइंस दिल्ली लाके मुझे एडमिट किया.
And I was taken to Delhi and admitted there.
किसी के साथ भी इस तरीके की घटना होती है, मुझे लगता है कि किसी के साथ भी होता है, लेकिन प्रॉब्लम्स हॉस्पिटल के बेड से मुझे शुरू हुई है.
Anybody could have any issues, problems, and come into an accident, but my problem started from the hospital bed.
बिकॉज जब मैं हॉस्पिटल के बेड पे थी, डॉक्टर ने 20 से 25 दिन बाद बुलेटिन जारी किया कि अरुणिमा ठीक है, बातचीत कर सकती है.
Because after 25 days, the doctors issued a bulletin that Aruma is okay and she can talk.
मैंने जब बात करने की कोशिश की बाहर, तो न्यूज़पेपर में हेडलाइंस थी कि अरुणिमा के पास टिकट नहीं था. अरुणिमा टीटी आने पर ट्रेन से कूद गई.
And what I found that in the newspapers, they released the news that Aruma didn't have a ticket, the train ticket, and when the TT came to check her, and she just jumped off the train.
मैंने अपने आप को समझाने की कोशिश की कि ये क्या है.
And I was really shocked to see what is this.
और दूसरे दिन जब मैंने फिर से न्यूज़पेपर देखा, उसमें हेडलाइंस था कि अरुणिमा सुसाइड के लिए गई थी.
And the next day when I saw the newspaper again, it was stating that Aruma was there to commit suicide.
जब मैं आप समझ सकते हैं किसी के भी जीवन में अगर इस तरीके की प्रॉब्लम्स आती है, उसकी मनोदशा क्या होगी, वो हॉस्पिटल के बेड पे या फिर कैसे खड़ा हो सकता है, या फिर आगे की जिंदगी को कैसे जी सकता है. आप समझ सकते हैं.
You can imagine if somebody is having to face these kind of allegations and these kind of problems, how that person will get an energy to stand and lead the life.
और हर कोई मेरे खिलाफ बोल रहा था.
Everybody was talking against me.
और जबकि मेरे पास टिकट भी था, और बाद में ये चीज़ें जब मैंने एवरेस्ट क्लाइम किया, उसके बाद ये चीज़ प्रूफ हुई कि मेरे पास टिकट भी था और मैं सुसाइड के लिए नहीं गई.
And of course I had the ticket, and this was proven after I climbed Mount Everest, and then everybody agreed and they accepted that no, I had the ticket and I wasn't there to commit suicide.
जब मैं हॉस्पिटल के बेड से मैंने माउंटेनिंग के बारे में सोचा है, सारे लोग मुझे सिर्फ पागल और सनकी बोलते थे.
When I started thinking about climbing mountains, and everybody was thinking that oh, she's gone insane.
Actually मुझे उस समय जब पागल लोग सनकी बोलते थे, तो मुझे बहुत इरिटेशन, गुस्सा आता था.
Because when people used to think that I'm insane, thinking that I will climb mountains, that really used to irritate me.
लेकिन आज मुझे खुशी होती है क्योंकि मुझे समझ में आ गया उस पागलपन का मतलब. आप ये समझ लीजिए मेरे दोस्त, यहाँ पर जितने लोग हैं, आप ये समझ लीजिए, जब आपके जीवन में कोई भी लक्ष्य आप सोचते हैं और लोग आपको पागल बोलना शुरू कर देते हैं, तो आप समझ लीजिए आपका गोल आपके बहुत करीब है, कोई रोक नहीं सकता है.
Because I understand the madness what people was thinking, because when somebody has a goal and target to achieve it, then people will of course call you mad, and that madness is actually part of your success.
और इसलिए मैं शायद आज यहाँ पे हूँ. अगर वो पागलपन नहीं होता तो आज शायद मैं आपके पास आपके सामने कभी नहीं हूँ.
If I didn't have the madness to achieve that goal, today I might not be here in front of you.
और जब मैंने ट्रेनिंग स्टार्ट की है, आपको मेरे आर्टिफिशियल स्टम्प से, मेरे पैर से ब्लड निकलना शुरू होता था तो लोग मुझे बोलते थे कि अरुणिमा नहीं हो सकता है.
When I started training and my stump used to bleed and everybody around me used to say, Aruma, this is not possible for you to do it.
फर्स्ट टाइम मैंने ट्रेनिंग कंप्लीट की है.
But I did complete my training.
एंड जब मैं काठमांडू शेरपा, जब भी किसी बड़े माउंटेन्स के लिए जाते हैं तो शेरपा, नेपाल में गाइड्स को शेरपा बोलते हैं.
Because in Nepal they call the guide Sherpa, and whenever I used to go to a high mountain to climb,
जब उसने मुझे देखा है, मेरे पैर को एक रॉड जैसा है, आर्टिफिशियल लेग, दूसरे पैर में मेरे रॉड है, थाई टू नी एंड नी टू एंकल रॉड है.
Because when he noticed that my one leg is just a stem and the other one there is a long rod, iron rod in my leg,
दोनों पैर मेरे रॉड जैसे ही.
and they're both like rods actually, both sides.
फर्स्ट टाइम जब उसने बोला कि अरुणिमा ये तो इसके तो एक पैर में रॉड है, दूसरा पैर ही रॉड है.
Because when he saw first time, he said, Aruma, your one side foot is rod and other one is just like rod as well.
इसलिए ये समिट नहीं होगा.
So this summit is not possible.
इंडिया से हम 6 लोग थे, रॉकी एरिया तक सबसे अच्छा, सबसे आगे में चली.
We were 6 people from India, and in the rocky area I was at the forefront.
लेकिन जैसे ही वो ब्लू और ग्रीन आइस शुरू हुआ, जो बहुत पुराना होता था.
As soon as the blue and green ice started, that means it's a very old ice.
मैं अपने पैर को जैसे ही उस स्लोप पे ऐसे रखती, मेरा पैर स्लिप हो जाता, ग्रिप नहीं बना पाता.
As soon as I used to try to grip my foot on the snow, it would just slip back.
और माउंटेनिंग हो या फिर आपकी अपनी जिंदगी का, हर चीज का एक टाइम लिमिट होता है. अगर आपने अपनी जिंदगी में टाइम के अनुसार ही सब कुछ किया तो शायद आप अचीव कर पाए.
It's mountaineering or anything else. There is always a time limit for doing anything. If you achieve your goal within the time frame, then of course you can gain.
मैंने किसी तरीके से, जब वो लोग मुझे कहे कि अरुणिमा तेरे से नहीं होगा, तू आगे हट जा, मैंने जब उस स्लोप को क्रॉस करके वो लोग आगे निकल गए, मैंने अपनी बॉडी का हर पार्ट लगा करके, जिगर, किडनी, लिवर सब.
When they said, Aruma, it's not possible for you, you just stay behind, and they moved forward. But I did not give up. I used all of my force from every part of my body, heart, lungs, and liver as well.
मैंने उस स्लोप को क्रॉस किया, लेकिन जब आइस वॉल शुरू हुआ,
and I managed to cross the slope.
आप लोग ने स्पाइक शू आपने देखा होगा जिसमें छोटे-छोटे कांटे होते हैं.
You may have seen the shoes with spikes.
उसी तरीके से क्रैम्पोन, बड़े-बड़े कांटे होते हैं टो के सामने और बूट के नीचे बड़े-बड़े कांटे होते हैं.
Because there are a similar type of long nail type things at the back of the shoes, at the heels.
जब मैं अपने आइस वॉल पे यूं हिट करते हैं, इतना पार्ट बॉडी का, इतना पार्ट घुसता है उसमें क्रैम्पोन का आइस में, हम उस पे अपना बॉडी खड़े हो जाते हैं, उस पे पूरा वेट देकर.
When you step on the ice, it's a part of
क्रैम्पोन.
Part of crampon goes into the ice, and that gives you strength to move forward.
जब मैं अपने राइट लेग से हिट करूं आइस वॉल पे, मेरा पैर पूरा स्वेल होके ब्लू हो जाता था.
Because when I used to step on the ice, my foot would turn blue and really start swelling.
और जब मैं अपने लेफ्ट से हिट करूं, लेफ्ट मेरा आर्टिफिशियल पैर है.
Because my left is an artificial leg.
मैं हिट करूं, कभी-कभी परिस्थिति ये आती कि टो मेरा हील पे आ जाता, हील मेरा टो पे आ जाता था.
Because sometimes it will just twist, like my toe will go back to the heel and he will come to the front of the toe.
पूरी तरीके से वो घूम जाता था.
It will just turn all around.
सामने से कई लोग ऐसे होते थे, बोलते थे कि तुमसे नहीं होगा अरुणिमा, हटो.
And some people would say, Aruma, it's not possible for you. Just
हम माउंटेनियर्स को
about
सिखाया
it.
जाता है कि अपने इक्विपमेंट्स पे, अपनी ट्रेनिंग और खुद पर भरोसा रखो, और सबसे ज्यादा ऊपर वाले पे भरोसा रखो, जीत हमेशा आपकी.
And we mountaineers are told that first of all, trust on yourself, your equipment, and most of all on the Creator.
और वही हुआ. मैं अपने पैर को रोप में एंकर रहे अपने पैर को खोला है, फिर से सेट किया और फिर हिट करना शुरू किया।
And that's the reason, while I was still on the way, I just opened my artificial foot, fixed it, and start climbing again.
मुझे एक जगह पे जहाँ जनरली लोग एक बार में हिट करते हैं, मुझे 5 बार हिट करना
And
पड़ता था।
normally people have to just hit once and move on, but I had to hit at least 5 times before I could take a step.
एवरेस्ट में 4 कैंप लगते हैं। कैंप 3 तक जिसको जाना होता है तो जाता है, नहीं तो कैंप 3 से वापस आ जाता है।
Normally there are 4 camps on Mount Everest, and people not go up to Camp 3 and just come back.
क्योंकि कैंप 3 से ऑक्सीजन लगना शुरू हो जाता है।
Because from Camp 3 onwards, we need oxygen.
जब मैं कैंप 3 पहुंची, मेरे ग्रुप से 5 लोग थे। एक जन ने बोला कि अरुणिमा, मुझसे नहीं होगा, मैं नीचे जा रहा हूँ।
Because when we reached Camp 3, one of our group members, he said, "No, Aruma, I can't make it. I'll need to go back."
मैंने समझाने की कोशिश की। उसने बोला एक पैर कटा है तो दूसरा भी कट जाएगा, क्या प्रॉब्लम है?
And I tried to tell him that, come on, let's carry on. One foot is cut. If the other one's cut as well, so what?
So मैं कुछ नहीं बोली उससे, और फिर चुपचाप जो मेरा गोल था मैं उसके ऊपर चलना शुरू किया मैंने।
But I focused on my goal, and I kept my eyes on my goal and kept going.
रात को 1 बजे मैंने कैंप 3 से शुरू किया था। नेक्स्ट डे रात को दिन को 1 बजे मैं कैंप 4 में पहुंची थी।
And I started my journey from Camp 3 at 1 a.m. and it took me 12 hours to get to the next camp.
मैं जब कैंप 4 में थी बहुत खुश थी कि लोग कैंप 4 भी नहीं पहुंच पाते थे, इसलिए मैं कैंप 4 में हूँ तो मुझे बहुत खुशी थी।
And when I reached Camp 4, I was very happy that not many people can achieve to get to Camp 4.
और ऑक्सीजन मास्क को लगा के बॉडी को एक्लिमेटाइज करने के लिए मैं ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा टेंट के बाहर घूम रही थी।
And while putting mask on my oxygen mask and to acclimatize my body, I try to just walk about outside of the camp.
जस्ट मेरे बगल वाले टेंट्स में 4-5 शेरपा किसी को खींच कर बाहर निकाल रहे थे टेंट के अंदर से।
Just around the fourth or fifth camp, there were like the guides. They were pulling 4 or 5 of them, pulling the other mountaineer out of their camp.
मैं भी बड़ी उत्सुकता के साथ उसको देख रही थी कि ये क्या हो रहा है।
And I was watching them with really curiosity, what's happening.
जब मैंने देखा कि एक कैनेडियन लड़की, उसकी बॉडी अकड़ गई थी और जिस पोजीशन में थी वो उसी पोजीशन में वो टेंट के अंदर मर चुकी थी।
Because when I saw that there was one Canadian girl, her body has really frozen and she had died there.
मैं अगर आप ये सोचे कि मुझे डर नहीं लगा तो ये बिल्कुल सही नहीं है। मुझे पूरी तरीके से मैं डर गई थी।
If you think that I wasn't scared, I was actually really terrified when I saw that.
और इतना ही नहीं, जस्ट दूसरे टेंट में कोई मेन समिट से आया था, उसके फेफड़े आते ही वो टेंट के अंदर सो गया था, उसके फेफड़े में पानी गया और वो भी मर चुका था।
Because there was another person who came from the summit and his lungs was frozen and he died while in his sleep.
और ये कैंप 4 है, ये मेन समिट है। यहाँ से यहाँ की जो दूरी है करीब 3,500 फीट।
This is the 4th camp and from here to the summit is about 4,000 feet. 3,500 feet, excuse me.
अब मैंने जब ये कैंप 4 है, यहाँ से जब मैंने स्टार्ट किया है, इसका नाम जनरली लोग उसका नाम बोलते हैं डेथ जोन एरिया। उसका ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा नाम पड़ चुका है डेथ जोन एरिया।
Death zone area is known that the distance from this, when you leave the camp 4 to your summit, they call it, this area is death zone.
जब मैंने इवनिंग में स्टार्ट किया, क्योंकि इवनिंग में वेदर शांत होता, हवा कम होती है, इसलिए
normally people start in the evening because the weather is a bit calmer, and that's when I started.
जैसे जैसे अंधेरा शुरू हुआ मैंने अपनी हेडलाइट जलाई।
As it was getting darker, and I put on my headlight.
और जिधर ही मेरी हेडलाइट जा रही उधर ही डेड बॉडीज नजर आ रही।
And all I could see was dead bodies around wherever the headlight would.
इतना पार्ट किसी का बर्फ में है, किसी का ऊपर है, हाथ दिख रहा, किसी का पैर दिख रहा था।
For some, I could see like top part of the body. The rest is all frozen in the ice, and I could see someone only hands I could see.
इतना ही नहीं, मैं जिस रोप में थी उसी रोप में एक बांग्लादेशी, उनका हाथ हिल रहा था, मुंह से आवाज आ रही थी।
And not just that, on the same rope where I was, there was a Bangladeshi citizen, and I could see his hand moving, and he was just making noises like
जब तक मैं उसके पास पहुंची हूँ, उसकी बॉडी शांत हो चुकी थी, पूरा फेस ब्लू हो गया था।
Because when I got near him, his body was still and face has turned blue.
मैं उसके पास पहुंच के मेरा माइंड पूरी तरीके से ब्लैंक हो गया था। मैं सोच नहीं पा रही थी कि मैं क्या करूं।
Because when I saw him, when I reached him, my whole body got blank and I couldn't think straight.
लास्ट में मैंने उस कैराविनर को उसके आगे लगाया और लगा करके उसके आगे मैं बढ़ गई।
And then I put a caravan on him and moved forward.
और आगे बढ़ने के बाद जब उस समय मैं पूरी तरीके से ब्लैंक हो गई थी, लेकिन आगे बढ़ी।
Because
और-
although I couldn't think straight, I was totally blank, but I still kept moving.
हिलेरी स्टेप के बारे में आप सब जानते होंगे, जब मैं हिलेरी स्टेप पे पहुंची मेरा ऑक्सीजन पूरी तरीके से खत्म हो रहा था
Because
और
when I reached the Hillary step, you might have heard about that. By that time, my oxygen was completely finished, it was gone.
और जस्ट 2 घंटे पहले हमारा ऑक्सीजन ब्लिंक करता है,
Because 2 hours prior to its coming to an end, the normal oxygen starts blinking.
तो शेरपा ने कहा कि रुडिमा वापस चल।
And the guide said, Nirma, you need to come back.
मैंने कहा कि जब अपने गोल पे मैं निकली हूँ और जब मैं इस जर्नी के लिए निकल रही थी तो मेरी माँ ने और बछेंद्री पाल मैडम ने मुझे बोला था कि जब कभी भी इस जर्नी में रुडिमा एवरेस्ट के जर्नी में होना, तो जब कभी भी तुम्हें लगे कि शायद समिट नहीं होगा, तुम जहाँ पर भी हो ना वहाँ पर खड़े होकर हल्का सा पीछे मुड़कर देखना और ये सोचना कि एक एक कदम चल के तुम यहाँ तक पहुँची हो।
My mother and somebody else just told me that whenever you find difficult and you think that you can't take a step forward, just stop for a while and look back how much journey you have covered in every single step, how much difficulty you have covered.
And I think that would be a fantastic point
Thank
to
you.
leave the audience
यहाँ पे मतलब
with.
इसको ख़त्म करते हैं।
Wonderful. I think the journey
बस।
that you have made is fantastic.
जर्नी जो आपने बताई है बहुत अच्छी है।
So
Thank
glad
you.
you've
हमें
become one of our
I'm just
graduate
taking 2 minutes only.
just 2 minutes and we'll finish.
Just 2 minutes and please. 21st May 2013 दुनिया की सबसे टॉलेस्ट पीक पर थी। वो जो
21st May 2013, I was on the tallest peak of the world.
और दुनिया की सबसे टॉल जब दोनों हाथ ऊपर करके चिल्लाने का मन कर रहा था कि इतनी जोर से चिल्लाऊं कि मैं सबको बता दूं कि आज मैं
Because
top
I
of the
was
world।
just really dying to scream and then tell the whole world what I've achieved.
फाइनली जो अपना नेशनल अपने देश का फ्लैग जब हम ऐसी जगह पे लगाते हैं शायद वो फीलिंग से अलग होती है, शायद
Because
आपका
when you are at that point, when you put your flag there, raise your flag at that peak, the feeling is unexplainable.
शायद आप भी करेंगे तो शायद आपको भी वो फीलिंग्स कभी महसूस हो
Even
पाए।
when you do it yourself, only then you will be able to understand the feelings the person has at that point.
लास्ट में मेरी 4 लाइन की फेवरेट पंक्ति है, अच्छे से ट्रांसलेट
So
करिएगा।
last 4 lines there, I would like to just say.
अभी तो इस बांझ की असली उड़ान बाकी है, अभी तो इस बांझ की असली उड़ान बाकी है, अभी तो इस परिंदे का इम्तिहान बाकी है।
For this journey, there is a real journey is still ahead. There is more to achieve for this bird.
अभी तो इस परिंदे के अभी मैंने लांघा है समुद्रों को, अभी तो पूरा
I have
आसमान
just
बाकी है।
crossed the rivers, the seas, but still I have to cross the skies.
और that's all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
This is yours, Robin. Thank you very much. Please. Well done.
Principal and Vice Chancellor, in the name of the University and by the authority of Senate, I present to you these students. For the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, for research in the Department of Chemical and Process Engineering, Thomas Gilbert Kendall. Alexis MacDonald. Francisco Pelissa. For research in the Department of Electronic and Electrical Engineering, Edward Joseph Cole. Adele Dias. Daniel Danzeri. Emmanuel Basse Ede. Mohammed Atef Saad Al-Zazazem Al-Gendi. Fulin Fan. Graham Stephen Hauker. Theodoros Kostakis. Soturia Katala. Gordon McKinstry, Louis Rogeria Castello, Jonathan Thomas Sampson, Nazaruddin Hussein Sayed, David William Thompson, Yujan Yan, Mangran Yu, Minan Zhu. For research in the Department of Mechanical and Aerospace Engineering, Callum Stuart Arno. Rory Alexander Clark. Marilena Di Carlo. Martin Andrew Dunn. Jimmy John Oliveira Etienne Host. Kiara Nora McGrath. Tom Pitt. Kyle Robert Pender. Viola Renato. For research in the Department of Naval Architecture, Ocean and Marine Engineering, Francisco Malcor Castillon Valverde. Ana Lito Michaela. For the degree of Master of Science in Process Technology and Management, Mohammed Afzal. Michael John Atkins. Max Francis Dawson. Benjamin Gurini. Hank Kai Jor. Sebastian Kortz. Nathan Walker. In Advanced Chemical and Process Engineering, Mohammed Mohafu Al-Hassan. In Oil and Gas Innovation, Olani Samul Alawawi. In Communications Control and Digital Signal Processing, Enis Naji. In Electrical Power Engineering with Business, Anwar Nasar Salim Al-Hartlihi. Kona Makari. Yazan Zahar Badi Al-Kelani. In Electronic and Electrical Engineering, Olive Jalhuha Adai. Osama Al-Humi. Sabagami Anamalai. In Yu Chen. Fraser William Ferguson Cumming. Samson Damilola Pabiy. John Liu. Wang Feiyu. Jiaxin Shui. Shi Yang. Jaeyun Yu, Hoksing Zhang, Jinye Yang, Zhu Yunkai. In 5G Advanced Communications, Niall Kitts-Hayes. In Wind Energy Systems, Hafki Alexidis Alexandros. Diego Charnisoro Fernandez. Konstantinos Ioannidis. John McGovern. Matthew Joseph Pallister. Angelos Pasidis. Alexander Jaroslav Skol. James Gordon Tate. Danilo Vieja. Alexandra Wilson. In Sustainable Engineering, Renewable Energy Systems and the Environment, Abdulkarim Mahmoud Mohammed Abdulkarim. Alexandros Aristotelos. Agnieszka Bakleda Baga. Ryan Buchahin. Luis Comery. Carlos Javier Cortos Montero. Osama Hamouda. Erin Catherine Hawkins. Torun Shungning Hollingstatter. Nikki Humphrey. Mary Ellen Kerr. Danielle Lee. Callum Love. Nicolas Marinos. Samuel George Payton. Bara Kendeel. Lena Reed McConnell. Fergus Ross. Alexander Stoker. David William Harris Taylor. Christopher James Thorne. In Advanced Mechanical Engineering, Abdullah Al-Mutari. Alexander Joshka Ailing. Luke Branch. Jay Huzak. Pavlina Shashova Dimitrova. Stephen John Dunn. Yemalettin Hassan. Rishay Jawahar. Nülgin Kır. Thomas George Land. Alan MacDonald. Manuel Siguris. Christopher Cameron Welsh. In Advanced Mechanical Engineering with Aerospace, Colin Graham Aitken. Talal Al-Gadaim. Kobos Botes. Dillon Projville de Souza. Josh Alexander Evans. Finbar Ford. Gordon McIntyre Lindsay. Ayole Uluva Quadri Soul. In Advanced Mechanical Engineering with Energy Systems, Jafar Ali Fida Hussein. Akbarulova Adeniyi Oladiran. Matthew Reynolds. In Advanced Mechanical Engineering with Materials, Mohammed Rezvanipur. In Sustainable Engineering, Offshore Renewable Energy, Sangil An. Damien Dominic Jasukak. Tetkin Zarwin. Matthew Joseph McClure. Nicolas Soterios Eftalrinos. Zalina Rumenova Paseva. Gerasimos Konstantinos Petratos. In Marine Engineering, Ali Abdelawi. Antisha Angukarita Reitat. Avlinodis Nikolaos. Rajit Ba. Vishal Vijakumar Buzale. Showman Samparatomatil Matthew. Shahsat Deepak Peter. Ram Prasad Ramakrishna. Kriyakola Savdu. Beliz Ayşe Yüksel. In Offshore Floating Systems, Ranu Goel. Praven Kumar Kodangeapati Rajendran. In Subsea and Pipeline Engineering, Kirsty Catherine Lal. Shivesh Vigesh Prek. In Ship and Offshore Structures, Jofin Lukos. Anish Shivankuti Nair. For the degree of Master of Engineering in Aeromechanical Engineering, Andrew Murray. Gavin Rory Shuttleworth. In mechanical engineering, Rory David Donald. Andrew Green. In mechanical engineering with international study, Elias Andrew Spears. Duncan Zachary Stephen. Anthony Mark Thornton. For the degree of Bachelor of Engineering in Chemical Engineering, Jax Alexander Duff. Mark Hickford. Patrick Joseph Huben. Andrew Scott Jack. Ukarame Blessing Arutugo. Sorab Sarer. Christopher Welsh. Nur Ashila Safa Binti Abraman. Andrew Inder Samuel Carruthers. Craig Castles. Nadar Kamal. Yoshra Binti Zaini. In electronic and electrical engineering, Adam Allen. Tesfon Beyan. Simon Joseph McCormick. Gabor Abafalvi. Nancy Ashantan. Ross Seddon Osborne. Yuan Hu. Sam William Milby. In electronic and electrical engineering with international study, Sebastian Forney. In electrical and mechanical engineering, Christopher Clough. Aaron James Cayley. James Alistair Angus Pringle. In aeromechanical engineering, Mohamed Akalman. Shahan Gohar. Darren Lee. In mechanical engineering, Kiran John Puyo. Adel Shahset Bek. Saad Inam. Conor Andrew Logan. Ross McInnes. Kirsty William Wan Smith. Christopher Carson. In naval architecture and marine engineering, Yanis Spartos. Stamatios Takas. Alexandros Georgios Zantoulis. In naval architecture with ocean engineering, Matthew Robert Brown. Craig Reagan Smith. Jack Pilimerich. in Naval Architecture with High-Performance Marine Vehicles, Garrett Clark. Hannah Hamill. In Engineering Studies, Thomas Macaulay. For the postgraduate diploma in Sustainable Engineering, Renewable Energy Systems and the Environment, Cameron John McClown. In Subsea and Pipeline Engineering, Chukwemeka Richard Akbagba. Degree of Bachelor of Engineering in Mechanical Engineering, Stephen Shanks.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I can confirm that the Guinness Book of Records were at the back of the hall today, and the Dean has just about made it for the world record on speed reading for the graduations. A big round of applause for Professor Insitcher. There must be a lunch appointment somewhere, I'm sure that'll be the case. Anyway, to the matter in hand, and once again, ladies and gentlemen, let me reiterate our welcome to all of you here to this wonderful ceremony, a day that none of you will forget. It marks the successful conclusion of years of hard work, and now you've graduated in front of your proud friends and families. So today we welcome visitors from all over Scotland, throughout the UK, and indeed from across the globe. We're delighted to see you all here to join in our celebrations. Of course, as part of the context within which you are graduating today, we might reflect on the prevailing political dynamics in Scotland, the UK, throughout the UK, into Europe, and of course across the Atlantic. And it's worthwhile acknowledging the key roles for universities such as ours, for graduates such as those that we have launched into their careers today. Strathclyde is an institution where freedom of thought is valued and encouraged. We are a place that is both tolerant and inclusive, and where people of diverse national, cultural, and social backgrounds come together in a community to enjoy excellent education and share the student experience. We all benefit from having students and staff from over 100 different countries. Ours is proudly a socially progressive community, and one that is an exemplar for modern society. We are plural, multicultural, and we seek to be enlightened. And it's our responsibility to continue to challenge unacceptable behaviours and practices, including of those in power, by reason and by exemplifying modern society. And I think the unusual conditions, the flux that we all face, the unacceptable, in my opinion, inputs from many of our political colleagues and from unacceptable parts of society must be challenged. And Strathclyders need to be at the front of that challenge, standing up for rights, the freedom of expression, and indeed the impact on society. And always remember that. But of course, and most importantly, we're here today to acknowledge your hard work, the learning that you've built up, and the successful completion of your degree courses. Appropriately enough, Thomas Edison, famous inventor, and I like to claim as an electrical engineer, he was a famous American inventor, and he said that genius is 1% inspiration, 99% perspiration. And I'm sure as Strathclyders, your own percentages might have been a little bit better than that. I was brought up here in Glasgow, in a small part of town, a sunny hamlet called Govan. And our town's historical motto is Nihil sine labore, which means nothing without hard work. And I try to embrace that ethos every day. And I would recommend to all of you, our graduates before us and here on the stage, take that approach into your future careers. You're all clever young women and men, but that application and that hard work very often makes a difference and gives you that wind in your sails as you go forward into your careers. And today, you've become Strathclyde alumni. You're the latest of our torchbearers, just like many generations of graduates before you. And with all that you've successfully come through, I'm sure you would agree that you couldn't have done this without the backing and encouragement of the community of supporters that surround you. It's fitting that we acknowledge their part in the success and the completion of your university degrees. Our graduates and the university community at large owe them an enormous debt of gratitude. As the first in my own family to have gone to university, as it happens here at Strathclyde in the EEE department, I know the importance of such support. So today's graduates and our university staff would like to take this opportunity to thank all of you, the families, friends and supporters, for all that you've done to make today possible. Thank you very much indeed. And for our academic staff too, this is a very important day because your success is ultimately their reward. Strathclyde has worked hard to provide you with a high-quality education and a first-class university experience for all of our students, regardless of background. So let me invite our new graduates to join with me in thanking our staff for all that they've done to support you in your journey. Thank you. Just as we reflect on you graduating today, let's think about your own university. You should be aware that we were founded in 1796. We are now 222 years old, although I like to think of us still as a 200-year-old startup, retaining the same excitement and purpose from the time of our establishment. And throughout our history, the University of Strathclyde has remained faithful to our founding principles, and we were established, and I quote, for the benefit of all mankind. We were the only higher education institution to be established in Scotland during the Enlightenment, a real distinction for Strathclyde. And over the past 200 years, we've produced many incredible contributors to science, engineering, to society and economy. Dr. David Livingstone was an Anderson's Institution person, medic, and those that took learning and missionary work into Africa. John Logie Baird, the inventor of the TV here at the Royal College, just down the road here in George Street. Lord Reith, the first chairman of the BBC. Dame Ailish Angelini, Scotland's first Lord Advocate. James Paraffin Young, the father of the oil and gas industry. And in the low-carbon side of things, James Blythe, the inventor of the world's first wind-driven electrical generator. And more recently, very important people contributing to the economy. Sir Tom Hunter, a Strathclyde graduate, along with Sir Brian Souter and Jim McCall and many others. And connecting with them, taking inspiration from them and them from us, we are now driving our strategy forward in that same exciting spirit, making it entirely relevant for the 21st century. Our founder, back in the Enlightenment period, John Anderson, was a physicist, or natural philosopher as they would have been called back then. He had strong links with Benjamin Franklin, from whom he derived great inspiration. Franklin was an American inventor and academic, and one of the founders of the University of Pennsylvania in 1751, with their motto being useful knowledge. And our motto, and every one of our staff knows this and our students should carry it with them, is useful learning. And never has that philosophy been so relevant since our establishment over 200 years ago. So that still defines our purpose as a leading international technological university that is committed to being socially progressive. And of course, we should look around us. Across the campus and in the buildings that you'll have passed today on your way to the Barony Hall, our academics and students are developing drugs to diagnose and fight disease. For example, we currently have several drugs on clinical trials in the areas of cancer treatment, degenerative kidney disease, infection management, and inflammatory disease. Strathclyders are also producing the energy technologies and policy solutions to tackle climate change and to establish a low-carbon economy. We're revolutionizing global manufacturing to help create the fourth industrial revolution, so-called Industry 4.0, using robotics, artificial intelligence, and automation. Our students continue their work in Africa to establish water and power supplies and to deploy healthcare systems in remote communities. They are bringing prosthetic limb technologies to to those in need in India. And we continue to work to inform public policy and to drive our national economic strategy. Our staff in the Technology and Innovation Centre down in George Street, or the TIC building as we refer to it as, are working on energy, photonics, bio-nanosystems and pharmaceuticals. Thomas Edison, who I mentioned earlier, called his technical team and the laboratories his inventions factory. Well, TIC has become our innovations factory, and it's driving real opportunities here in Glasgow and in Scotland. We acquired the adjacent building to the TIC earlier in the year, called the Novo building, reinforcing our leadership in establishing Scotland's first innovation district right here in the heart of the city. And over the next few months, with the support of our members of court and the approvals process, we'll look to invest another £150 million on that site, creating the next infrastructure, working on medtech, financial technology, quantum, industrial informatics, 5G communications and space technology, where Scotland has a fantastic base here in the city, not least of which through the academic capability of our colleagues in mechanical and aerospace engineering. But most importantly, with all of that great achievement, we're providing people with the opportunity to transform their lives, the lives of their families, and impacts for the communities that they belong to. As I mentioned earlier, we still attract many first-generation university students to Strathclyde, and proud of it too. And through useful learning, we're giving business and industry the tools that they need to be more innovative, to be productive, and to promote more economic growth. This helps us create jobs and provide us all with a quality of life that is both sustainable and improving. And these are some of the reasons why we've had such a string of external recognitions of our achievements. So every year there's a programme called the Times Higher Education Awards, the sort of sector Oscars, if you will. And in recent years, Strathclyde has variously been winning the UK Research Project of the Year, driven out of the EEE department in partnership with Biological Sciences, using pulsed electric fields and UV light to kill very nasty things like E. coli, Campylobacter, Salmonella. We were named University of the Year, which was a fantastic accolade for my staff and the students. And the year after that, the UK Entrepreneurial University of the Year, because of the way that we do our business. 2 years ago, we received the award as UK Business School of the Year. And last year, we were also recognised for how we do our business, being named the UK Workplace of the Year. So we should be proud of how our colleagues are driving things forward. So Strathclyde continues to demonstrate its ability to have disproportionate impacts, principally through all of you, our graduates. You're our finest contribution to society and industry, the minds, the leaders of tomorrow, our excellent graduates and postgraduates, but also through the quality of our research and the highly effective ways in which we create value and impact by translating our knowledge out into business, industry and the public sector. We are drivers for sustainable economic growth, and Strathclyde has a distinctive role in this national objective. And universities, of course, must be seen as a strategic investment. The Scottish Government invests around £1.2 billion per annum in the higher education sector, and that's important. We must drive even further investment because in return, the sector delivers £7 billion back into the Scottish economy. And certainly the achievements of the staff and the students of the engineering faculty over this past year gives me great confidence for the future. And I've had to do a heavy edit on the very significant list of contributions. So let me give you some few contributions from our staff and our students. So in biomedical engineering, we're in the midst of an £18 million refurbishment to support teaching and research in biomedical engineering, prosthetics and orthotics. Our students, Leanne Nimmo, Katrina McGeechan, Laura Holliday, Rachel Houston and Amanda Onaga, won the Engineering for People Design Challenge run by Engineers Without Borders for designing a water treatment system for a medical centre in Peru. We've launched our graduate level apprenticeships. For those of you as mature as me, you'll remember these programmes back in the 60s and 70s where people can undertake degree studies whilst they're still at work. In June last year, the First Minister announced the investment of £9 million in Strathclyde with its industrial partners to create a lightweight manufacturing centre, which is sitting within an even bigger programme announced at the turn of the year, where we're going to have an investment of over £120 million, creating the National Manufacturing Institute for Scotland, based out at Glasgow Airport, making Strathclyde the centre and the anchor partner for a major programme that's going to put Scotland back on the map for high-value manufacturing. So challenge anyone that tells you that we don't have good manufacturing capability. In Strathclyde, the government and our industrial partners are at the vanguard of reinventing what the Scottish manufacturing base looks like. Professor Malcolm MacDonald, who's on the stage with us today, Director of the Scottish Centre of Excellence in Satellite Applications, was appointed as a non-executive director of the UK Space Agency Steering Board. Dr. Christopher Lowe, Dr. Stephen Owens from Mechanical and Aerospace won the prestigious Copernicus Masters University Challenge, looking at the innovative use of Earth observation and satellite navigation data. We also signed a very important deal, our EEE department in biological sciences, with a US firm called Hubble Lighting to license what's called high-intensity narrow-spectrum light technology. Work that came out of our high-voltage group, led by an outstanding individual, Professor David Tedford, who was the father of much of what has been going on in recent years at EEE, pushing forward technology to make impact on people's health and people's lives. Professor Bob Stewart and EEE attracted an £8 million investment in partnership with Cisco on 5G communications for rural applications. And Cisco also looking to invest in establishing new staff positions here at Strathclyde. Professor Tariq Durrani, who's on the stage with us here today, was elected as a foreign member of the US National Academy of Engineering, an outstanding recognition of his personal achievements and a great reflection on the university itself. Strathclyde is leading with the company, Babcock, will be well known to many people here, on a £4 million investment from the UK government on making nuclear assets safer and more reliable. And Professor Max Vasily, also here on the stage, was awarded his third successive Marie Skłodowska-Curie initial training network of €4 million worth of investment to lead a pan-European project investigating how to explore and exploit asteroids. So really pushing at the sharp edge of technology. And I'm delighted to say Professor Becky Lunn and Professor Graham Wren were elected to fellowships of the Royal Academy of Engineering. So I could go on, but mustn't. This should tell you, at the very least, this faculty is knocking the ball out the park, and all of you graduates should be very proud to be part of such an outstanding part of the university. And this is the exciting context within which you should view your awards. You're now graduates of a place that puts students at the heart of everything that we do. We value excellence in education and research, and we create strong connections with society as well as the business world. And we're investing not only in people, but in infrastructure. By the end of academic year 21-22, we will have invested just shy of £950 million in the campus over a decade. The real £1 billion campus that's going to be delivered, bringing industry, our partners on board, and we've benefited just this year. Our new Sports and Health Institute, our new building up on Cathedral Street, £31 million. I always tend to suck my stomach in at this point because I drive past there in the morning, see all these very fit young students on running machines and putting barbells up in the air. I have to go and lie down just watching them, I have to say. So that has been a great hit, and for those of you that are leaving, do come back and access the facilities. Next month, we'll fully commission our new combined heat and power and district heating system, £20 million programme, supplying our own heat and electricity and decarbonising the supply. And we've just started working on our new £60 million learning and teaching building in the heart of the campus, which will be open in 2 academic sessions from now. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, we're an international institution. You could see that in the makeup of our staff and our students today. And of course, the best universities in the world contribute, collaborate, and compete on the international stage. We're no different. In the United States, our key partners are Stanford, MIT, and New York University, with growing links now with Caltech and University of Southern California. In China, we work closely with Tsinghua University in Peking, and then the Hong Kong University of Science and Technology. In Singapore, leading partnership with the Hong Kong University of the Nanyang Technological University and the National University of Singapore, and a raft of European partners. I have the privilege of being president of an entity called CESAR, which is a consortium of 52 technological universities. And in spite of the, and I've been public about this, so I won't start a monologue about it, but we are keen to maintain as strong a set of European links as possible. And Scotland is valued by our European partners, in spite of what we might see when we settle on some deal in March. The university sector can show our political colleagues just exactly what collaboration and the exchange of people and ideas means. And right after this ceremony, I'm going to join the First Minister to host an event discussing what the future is of research and education systems in my capacity as their energy advisor. So we're going to be talking about what this means for energy security too. So nonetheless, universities continue and the political flux comes and goes, and we need to keep on informing the debate through action and collaboration. But of course, our students benefit from being part of an international university. It helps all of you emerge with the necessary skills to help yourselves and Scotland play a full role in the world. And our students have been exposed, very importantly, to different cultures and traditions. You're all global citizens, and we make an impact here in our own city too. We are the lead institution in the Glasgow Economic Leadership Board, trying to get that same spirit of discovery and ambition that our forefathers did this at the end of the 19th century, emulating the Glasgow merchants, creating jobs in finance and business, manufacturing, low-carbon technology, life sciences, and very importantly, we make a difference to the people of this city. We are the leading Scottish research-intensive universities for widening participation in our programmes. And now for the second year, we've attracted over 1,000, mainly young people, from the two most challenged quintiles in the Scottish economy, while still maintaining the 6th place in the UK for entrance requirements, dismissing the notion that standards are adversely affected through strategic commitment to widening access. And I'm the Chancellor of a Children's University, and in May this year, we had over 200 youngsters aged 7 to 12 come across this stage, dressed very much like you are. Their parents never having walked across the threshold of a university, but Strathclyde, in partnership with the charity Children's University, exposed them to the benefits and the wonder of learning. And of course, as I've said to you before, I enjoy it because it's one of the few graduation ceremonies where I get to look tall, which is fantastic. And let me conclude on that basis by saying, for all of you, your university, our university, in 2018, I would say that we are ambitious, we have focus and momentum, and we are agile and maintain the commitment to the delivery of our strategy, so necessary to absorb the continuing challenges for the sector. It's a privilege for me to lead this great institution with the superb support I have from my executive team and my colleagues immediately to my right, as well as the broader community of administrative and technical support. And our founder, I am sure, John Anderson, would recognise what we are doing today as the epitome of what he sought to establish during the Scottish Enlightenment. And we now seek in modern society to be an agent for positive change here in Glasgow and beyond. And to all of you here in the Barony Hall, I'm certain that today's graduates will have an enormous impact on society. And remember that 2018 can truly become a vintage year. So with that in mind, and as you leave the hall today, you'll leave not only with your award, but please take with you a responsibility. You now join our alumni that number over 170,000 individuals around the world. So whatever you do with your degree and wherever you go to pursue your careers, remember that useful learning means that you apply your knowledge for the benefit of others, you make a positive impact for yourselves and the communities that you belong to. Respect diversity, value freedom of expression and thought, and reach conclusions and resolve disputes through reason and tolerance. These characterise the core values of your university. And finally, reflecting on today's celebration, we're all here to mark the achievements of those who have been awarded their degrees. On behalf of the university, let me extend once again my sincere congratulations to all of you and wish you every success in your future journey. Please stay in touch, let us know about your progress, and well done, and enjoy the rest of this very special day. Thank you very much. So the weather has remained clement. I am being signalled from the back of the hall. That's a good thing. So as we close the ceremony, I invite the stage party and indeed the graduates will process through the hall. We're going to reconvene over at the Lord Todd, which is just about 100 yards over to the right. Do come over for some refreshments and some circulation. I hope you enjoyed the ceremony as much as we do. It's the highlights of our year. Many congratulations to all of the graduates. And now let me declare this congregation closed. closed. Thank you very much indeed.